Hey there, everyone. It's time for Commissioner in the Car again, and we're going to get started here on this beautiful Sunday. And I'm here to talk about the Commissioner in the Car and a few things today. I'm sorry, I'm getting my handy-dandy pad here, and I'm just going to wait for some people to join, but mostly I'm just going to get right into it. What we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be talking about several things. First, the aftermath of the absentee ballot counts that we had here in Onondaga County. And then we're going to talk about all of the things coming up this week. Two main things, which is the way we choose our 5th Judicial Supreme Court justices and how that's done for the for party representation, and our party reorganizational meetings that are going on, including the big county reorganizational meeting that's going on next Saturday. So I'm just gonna get this going here, and then I'm gonna get started. Obviously, again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll try to get to them if I can see them here live. I'm having a little bit of a connection issue with my tablet, so maybe I won't be doing that today. All right, so what's going on? All right, so we had our absentee ballot counts at the Board of Elections this week, and we were able to certify our primary elections. The two races, well, actually 3 races with two different sets of candidates, where we had races that came down to the absentee ballot counts were the city court judge race on the Democratic and Reform Party line, and the state Senate race, the 53rd Senate District in the 53rd Senate District between Rachel May and Dave Valesky. I'll address the Senate one first, because that's actually pretty easy to address. Those absentees broke about the same way that the election night results broke. It was a very close race, and both teams were able to garner about even split of the absentee ballots here in Onondaga County, but also in Madison and Oneida County. So at the end of the day, Rachel May was victorious because she survived the absentee ballot count and continued to have about a 600 vote lead going in after the absentee ballot count, and will be the Democratic nominee and appear on the Working Families line for the 53rd Senate. Senator Valesky, by New York State election law, he can't get off these lines. He's on the Independence and Women's Equality line. So we're waiting to hear from him. He's hasn't made a declaration one way or the other about where he's going to continue, whether he's going to continue to run or not. And I, as commissioner, I'm not going to weigh in on that. That's something for parties to decide, for campaigns to decide on that. So I just wanted to touch on that. Now, the city court judge race, though, this is an interesting lesson about absentee ballots. Shadia Tadros and Ann Magnarelli went into election night where on the Democratic line, Ann Magnarelli was up by 19 votes. And on the Reform Party line, Shadia Tadros was up by 4 votes on election night. After absentee ballots were counted, Ann Magnarelli extended her lead by about 130 or so votes on the Democratic line, and also gained enough support on the absentee ballots for the Reform Party line to overcome her election night deficit, and was able to really secure both of those lines for the November election. So in the November election, Ann Magnarelli will be on the Democratic, Independence, Reform, and Women's Equality, and I think I'm missing a line here. Democratic, Independence, Reform, and Women's Equality lines for the general election. And Shadia will be on the Working Families line, and the Republican Jason Ziegler will be on the Republican and conservative line, and there's nobody on the green line. So this shows the importance of conducting an absentee ballot program with your campaign and conducting it well. Everybody can get information from our Board of Elections about the number of absentee ballots, as well as the ballots that are that are out there, and you can get mailers of who's applying for absentee ballots. So I implore all of our general election candidates that if you're interested in winning your race, if it's going to be a close race, you really need to be talking to absentee ballot voters, because that's what's going to determine the ultimate winner at the end of the day. And while it may not come into play, although we do count absentee ballots all the time, it is something that you should be doing as part of your normal campaign. I'm not saying that no campaign did it, or Shadia's campaign didn't do it, or as far as I know, every campaign did it. But this is an important part of your campaign duties. So make sure you contact us at the Board of Elections to get those absentee ballot voters every year, so you can talk to them and also talk to them as they apply, because once they cast their vote, for the most part, that vote is cast. So that was the aftermath of the absentee ballots, and we are now going into the general election. And so that's another thing I kind of wanted to talk about today, is a couple of things that are going on this week when it comes to general election, which has to do with party nominations for the 5th Judicial Supreme Court seat, as well as party reorganizational meetings. And these are things that maybe people who are not really into politics don't really know how this is done. And I kind of like to talk about the nitty-gritty and lift that veil of secrecy that might be out there, and try to explain to people how these positions are chosen. So in New York State, for judicial races for the Supreme Court, we have what's called judicial nominating conventions. When the parties walk their normal petitions in July, they often walk party slates for being delegates to a judicial convention. That judicial convention happens after the primary. There's so many days after the primary that it has to happen within. And at those judicial conventions, they select the party nominees for the Supreme Court in the 5th Judicial District. Now, this is a big judicial district. It has Onondaga, Oneida, Jefferson, I believe Herkimer, I believe Oswego. I'm not quite sure of all the counties in that judicial district, but all of the judicial districts span many counties. So these counties walk their own slates, and the number of people that are assigned to each county is based on population. And there's a party call that goes out earlier in the year, and it tells each county how many people that have to walk petitions, and they walk delegates and alternative delegates to that judicial convention. And so now, over the next week or so, the judicial conventions are going to be in full force, and they're going to be selecting their candidates to appear on the party line for the general election. This is a closed process. It is not something that the public can be a part of once the delegates are set. Although, like anything with a party position, it can be subject to a primary. In fact, in Onondaga County, we had a primary for the 129th Assembly District conservative judicial delegates, which came down to a handful of votes. So these delegate positions can be challenged. However, once the delegates are set, it's the delegates' votes on who will be the party nominees. Now, on Monday, we will have our judicial convention for the 5th Judicial District for the Democratic Party. It's widely suspected that they're going to nominate Scott Del Conte and Ted Limpert as those Supreme Court justice picks. And there's two others as well, and we're not sure what's going to go on with those other two. We'll find out on Monday who will get those other two as well. And so these four people, because there are four justice positions, will appear on the ballot, on the Democratic ballot, for the general election. And I think there's a really good chance of picking up some seats here. We're in a Democratic year, a Democratic environment, a governor's year that tends to bring out more Democrats to vote. So, and both Scott Del Conte and Ted Limpert have run before for Supreme Court. So they're not going to be new to a lot of the voters of the district. And I think they'll have a good shot at winning at least one or maybe both of those seats. They're both active and out there having campaigns and doing campaigns. And so I really believe that they're going to, really run really strong races. So that's happening on Monday. So that's why you haven't heard anything about Supreme Court justice picks, because that doesn't happen until Monday, and then we will have our party nominees. Now, speaking of party, we should talk a little bit about party reorganizations. The Democratic Party, like every party, has to go through a reorganizational meeting within 20 days of the primary, I believe is what the statute calls for, after every 2 years in the governor's year. So right now, there are four positions that will be up for re-election, and that is the county chair, currently held by Mark English, but he's not running again. The county secretary, currently held by Christine Fix, but she's not running again. The county treasurer, Mike LaPointe, who's running for re-election, and myself. The elections commissioner, the nomination is held at the same time as the party reorganization. That doesn't have to be done then, but traditionally in Onondaga County, that's when we do it. And that's happening on this Saturday, the 29th, at 10 a.m. Again, it's a closed process. You have to be a member of the Onondaga County Democratic Committee to vote on this. And I've been going around to town and ward committees, as many of the other candidates that are going out there. There are only other two declared candidates. Pam Hunter, Assemblywoman Pam Hunter, has declared her intention to seek the chairmanship. And City Chair Jimmy Monto has declared his intention to seek the secretary. Nominations were due by the 10th of September, I believe, to be part of the ballot. However, nominations could come from the floor, so nothing's a done deal. The county committee members are meeting at 10 a.m. On Saturday to vote on this, and we'll see what happens. I would be honored with the county committee's vote to have another term as elections commissioner. But that's how these races are chosen. And then with my race with the elections commissioner, another layer is that the county legislature has to approve my appointment. I'm nominated and then appointed, or whoever would be nominated is appointed by the county legislature. So there's a two-step process there. Now, at our county reorganizational meeting, they'll be adding members as well. People, to become a member of the county committee, you have to walk petitions every 2 years in the summer for your own personal position, but you should be walking every year because that's what we do as county committee members. We walk petitions to get people on the ballot. That's our main function. And as part of our duties, our responsibility to walk petitions, we get to be able to choose who we're walking petitions for. That's the role of a county committee member. And we are an elected office. We actually had a county committee primary for the first time in many years this year. Up in 16-1, there was 3 people who wanted the 2 spots for that election district. And so we had a county committee primary, but in neighboring counties, we see county committee primaries a lot. In Monroe, for example, in Rochester, they'll have 400 committee spots and committee people up for primaries. So it is something that happens more often in other counties. But as the city of Syracuse becomes more and more Democratic, who knows? Maybe we'll see that here as well. I hope not. I hope we can find ways to make sure that everybody who wants to be part of the party is part of the party. And so if you are interested in becoming part of the party, you need to contact the party itself and ask for the town and ward chair who you represent, who represent your area, and give them a call and see if they would be willing to add you at this September 29th meeting. You can go to the Onondaga County Democrats website. I think it's ocdemocrats.com, and you can look up who the town and ward chairs are, or just call the county headquarters. Or if you really can't do it, feel free to contact me, and I'll be more than happy to give you that person's contact information. I don't nominate people myself, although town and ward chairs are the ones who nominate them in these meetings. But if they're a part of a petition process, that's done. That can be done on an individual level, but that time has passed. So if you want to be part of the county Democratic Committee for the next 2 years, you should be looking to try to get involved. Now, in the city, it's pretty full. The city of Syracuse Democratic Committee has always had a lot of people want to be a part of it, and so it gets hard to get in there. You may have to wait. But if you're a town Democrat, for the most part, the towns are looking for people, although many towns are starting to become full too. We saw over the last 2 years an incredible growth of county committee members. We went from 350 to 650, and then after petitions, we're down to like 550 or so, because if you don't walk petitions, you get dropped off the committee. So that's happening now. And if you want to be a part of the Onondaga County Democratic Committee, you got to contact them. The phone number is 315-422-0345, or more than likely it's better to just go through the website and contact. There's contact information for every town and ward chair, and contact them directly. And that's the only way to really get on. So, and I think people don't understand that county committee positions are elected positions. We are elected to represent the ED that we serve, and all the citizens in it, all the Democratic citizens in it, but all the citizens as part of the Democratic Party, for purpose of nominating other candidates to run for office and organizing and helping them get on the ballot. That's our main job at the Onondaga County Democratic Committee, in my view. Winning elections also is, job 1A. Getting people on the ballot, job 1A. And then actually electing them, job 1B. That's our job as a Democratic committee. I've been a committee member for 25 years. I've walked petitions every year. So it's something that that's what we have to do to be. If you want to be a committee member, you're asked to walk petitions every year for the nominated candidates. For the most part, if you don't support a nominated candidate and they're in a primary, you can go out and walk petitions for that primary candidate. But you cannot not walk petitions for the nominated candidates. You can do both. Okay. Leah Lovett says Belly's going to get you. That's interesting. But yeah. So that is what's going on here this week. So we've wrapped up the absentee ballots and going to, now into the general election. We know who our Democratic nominees are. We are going to find out the Democratic nominees. Well, we're going to find out the Democratic nominees for just Supreme Court judicial picks, and then we're going to go ahead and then we're going to now talk about party reorganization. All of the different town and wards are going to talk about to reelect their town and ward chairs, but also reelect our county positions. So that's what's going on here at the, in this week in elections in Onondaga County. And if you have any questions, or if you have anything that you want to talk about, feel free to leave a comment. I'll try to answer them as much as possible, or contact me directly. And I hope to see you all out there getting people registered to vote. I need to say this: registration deadline is October 12th. So please, if you know anybody who's not registered, or you're not registered yourself, get them registered. You can check your registration at www.ongov.net/elections. And you have to then, you can check it there. You can download a form and mail it in. It has to be to us, postmarked by about the 12th. Thank you very much, and I will see you out on the campaign trail. Bye-bye.